Right, India's most vulnerable strip of land, just 22 kilometers wide, a tiny corridor that connects the entire northeast to mainland India. Cut this strip off and 8 states risk isolation. This is the Siliguri Corridor, better known as the chicken's neck, and now a massive strategic build-up is underway. Hello and welcome to another episode of NewsX Deep Dive. My name is Vineet Malhotra, where today we have a look at the big moves being made by the West Bengal government to boost connectivity in the vulnerable region. From new military infrastructure to underground rail networks to revived airstrips, India is moving to fortify its most sensitive geographic choke point. But why now? Why is the chicken's neck back in the national security spotlight? And how do China, Bangladesh and India's military history all converge on this narrow strip of Bengal? Let's take a look. Well, the Siliguri Corridor is a thin stretch of land in North Bengal. At its narrowest, it is just about 22 kilometers wide. On one side is Nepal, on the other side Bangladesh, and above it lies Bhutan and further north China. Moreover, this single strip connects mainland India to Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Manipur, Mizoram, Meghalaya, Tripura and Nagaland. Everything moves through this belt: troops, railways, highways, fuel, food supplies and military logistics, which is why strategists have long called it India's geopolitical jugular vein. Now to the big development. The West Bengal government has handed over 120 acres of land to the centre for major strategic infrastructure expansion across the Siliguri Corridor, a critical national security move. The land handover covers key strategic zones around Naxalbari, Siliguri, Kurseong and Darjeeling. Also passing through the corridor are critical routes including NH31, NH33 and NH312, the Sivok Coronation Bridge, the Hasimara Jaigaon route and the Chung Rabandha Corridor. Handing land over to central agencies allows the Indian Armed Forces, Border Security Force and Ministry of Railways to execute defence fortifications such as advanced missile deployments and base expansions without being delayed by state-level bureaucratic friction or political gridlock. And this land is doubly important because the centre wants to massively expand connectivity inside the chicken's neck. The move is expected to massively boost the same while also improving links with Bhutan and Bangladesh. It will also improve the Bihar-Bengal corridor through Malda and Murshidabad and upgrade the road spine running through Murshidabad, Nadia and North 24 Parganas up to the Indo-Bangladesh border at Ghojadanga. An official note has said this. The biggest project, a double-track rail system that is being upgraded into a 6-track strategic network. And then there is the most extraordinary part, a 40-kilometer underground railway tunnel from 3 Mile Hat to Rangapani running 20 to 24 meters below the surface. Because in a conflict situation, surface transport networks are the first targets. An underground system gives India redundancy, survivability and rapid military mobility even under attack. Now for the bigger security picture. The government is not just building tracks, it is fortifying the entire corridor. Just look at what the government has been doing in the area. Firstly, abandoned World War II era airstrips are being revived. For example, the Kailash Shahar Airport in Tripura, a World War II era base that was crucial during the 1971 Indo-Pak War. India has started refurbishing it to enhance military logistics and emergency rapid response capabilities. Why does this matter? Well, because these airstrips can be used for fighter dispersal, emergency landings, airlift operations and rapid troop deployment. Secondly, railway expansion from 4 tracks to 6 tracks. The project upgrades the current route into a 6-line rail network by adding 2 subterranean tracks to the 4 existing surface tracks, ensuring uninterrupted connectivity to India's northeast. Thirdly, the strategic underground rail network. India is constructing a 35.76 kilometer underground railway corridor through the Siliguri Corridor to fortify mainland connectivity to northeastern states. The strategic bomb-proof route will run between 3 Mile Hat and Rangapani, securing vital supply lines in the region. Finally, 3 new garrisons near the Bangladesh border to fortify the highly strategic area. The Indian Army established 3 new military garrisons near the Bangladesh border. The bases, strategically positioned across West Bengal, Bihar and Assam, boost surveillance, logistics and rapid deployment capabilities in response to shifting regional dynamics. The centre is essentially trying to do 3 things. 1. Create multiple transport redundancies, so if one route is hit, others remain operational. 2. Speed up military mobilization to the northeast. And 3. Make the corridor too hard to disrupt. Underground networks, multiple rail lines, revived airfields, new garrisons and stronger highways. This isn't just development, this is strategic fortification. And then there is also economic dimensions. The Siliguri Corridor is not only India's security gateway, it is also the trade gateway to the northeast and beyond. Connectivity projects linking India with Bhutan, Bangladesh, Nepal and Southeast Asia all depend on this region, which means protecting the chicken's neck is not just about war, it is about trade, energy, supply chains and regional influence. West Bengal's latest handover is now expected to accelerate long-pending infrastructure work in the region, which has become increasingly crucial amidst rising security concerns and growing connectivity demands in eastern and northeastern India. So the message from Delhi appears clear. The era of treating the Siliguri Corridor as a peacetime transit route is over. India is now treating it as a full-scale strategic defense zone. And we'll get to talk about this with our guest, Major General Sudhakar Ji, Senior Geopolitical and Strategic Defense Expert, joins us on the program to give his take on this, refurbishment, if we can call it, sir, of the Siliguri Corridor. It's important to understand that this has been a volatile location, it's been a vulnerable location, it's been a sensitive location when it comes to the northeastern part of our great nation. How are these advancements in terms of railways, highways and other strategic assets going to transform how India perceives as well as conceives its enemies?
Yeah, Vinit, good evening. Thank you for taking me for your show. And you have covered much of the issues in your narrative, in the opening narrative. I would compliment the government of India for having hastened up and taken a formidable step in reinforcing this corridor of 20 kilometers wide at the narrowest point. Actually, it is around 17 kilometers and it's around 200 kilometers long, but I take it that it's almost about 600 kilometers, goes a long way towards Guwahati. So be that as it may, but the fact of the matter remains that the chicken's neck is the central artery connecting our northeastern states. Artery for operational moves of armed forces, artery for logistical backup, artery for day-to-day living, commercial activities, and name anything. So therefore, these steps are right steps, but we need to be mindful of the following. First and foremost thing, there is a place called Damak. Oily, this Damak is around 50 meters from Siliguri Corridor. There is a SEZ which has come up. China is sponsoring the SEZ of 491 companies. Almost all the companies are being sponsored by the state-owned enterprises of China. And the railway line is very, very close from Shigatse to this place. One. Number two, Doklam, where we had given them a standoff in 2017, 9 kilometers away. I hope there is some technical problem, this switching off automatically, I don't know why.
I can hear you, sir. Go on, sir.
Okay. There is a place called Pagda. Pagda is around 9 kilometers east of the line where we had stopped the Chinese in 2017. And there is a road which has been built by the Chinese 9 kilometers east of this location, meandering across the rocky outcrops and the mountains and coming up to the same point, which otherwise they had planned to come way back in 2017. Name of that place is Jampari Ridge, which gives them the advantage of domination by observation and fire. And from Jampari Ridge, it is a crow-flight distance of 15 to 18 kilometers to Siliguri Corridor. So that's the second. Third one is the Gelefu. Gelefu is another SEZ between Bhutan and India, and it's approximately I would say 99 kilometers from Bogaigaon, 55 kilometers from Bogaigaon, 240 kilometers from Guwahati, around 100 kilometers to the nearest point to Siliguri Corridor. There is a huge SEZ on the line of Saudi Arabia's concept of Neo City, which is coming up, and it has been sanctioned and approved by the Chinese. And they will be hosting, there are almost about 1,000 companies which will be built there. And it's a very sensitive thing taking place in a very volatile region. We need to be mindful of this. And last but not the least is the Rangpur division of Bangladesh, which is joining or hugging the borders with Siliguri Corridor. They have got Lal Monirhat airstrip, which was built way back in Second World War. That airstrip has been renovated as per my study from open source. There are hangars which are under construction to put the JF series of aircraft being provided by China as also Pakistan. There are air defense missiles which are likely to be deployed in that Lal Monirhat. It is just about 28 kilometers. Also remain mindful of the fact that the Ulfa camp, which was 4 in number, operational during the peak of Ulfa activities in Assam, 2 camps. One camp is being used for training by Lashkar-e-Toiba to Rohingya people who are there in Bangladesh, and the second camp is, I am told, is being used, needs to be corroborated by Jaish-e-Mohammed. So all these plus Al-Qaeda, plus ISIS and Hamas and Hezbollah footprint increasing, Qatar and Turkey, all these elements, they actually make a very heady mix in Bangladesh, despite the democracy having come back in a hopeful and promising manner. But therefore, India is taking the right step, firstly addressing the connectivity issue, secondly about the security, how best can we defend in case should anything go wrong, the surveillance capability and the capability of our air defense. We should think something ahead of not Iron Dome, not Golden Dome, something on the lines of Sudarshan Chakra. We should be able to preempt any action which is anticipated from the soil of Bangladesh or the adjoining areas. Back to you.
You're right, sir. Thank you. Appreciate you joining us, sir. And thank you for that wonderful analysis. We'll take a short break. Be right back.